So I've decided to start doing very dramatic book reviews because that's a thing that I enjoy doing and I usually do it mostly for you. So I decided to do it in video form because why not? Might be more dramatic. You might have more fun. This book, Get a Life, Chloe Brown. It's the first of the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert. Hibbert? Yeah. So starts off with two people, Redford Morgan, the superintendent of her building, and Chloe Sophia Brown, this beautiful little person over here. Love her. Anyways, so she has fibromyalgia and chronic pain. So she's not supposed to be doing a lot of very strenuous activities or be on her feet for more than 30 minutes continuously, technically. And so in the beginning of the book, she has kind of like a near death experience thing, and she decides after that she wants to get a life because that's a thing that she wants to do. You know, the name of the book. And so she makes a list called the Get a Life list, and she puts all of this stuff on the list. I'll put it up here. So it's enjoy a drunken night out, go ride a motorcycle, go camping, have meaningless sex, travel the world with nothing but hand luggage. Okay, that one's definitely dumb. I've done it. Not that worth it. I mean, I understand the appeal kind of going places on a whim, but honestly, you just end up shopping more than you expect to be shopping. Which is fun too. And do something bad, which happens to be the first thing she crosses off the list because she happens to catch Mr. Redford Morgan painting in without a shirt on through her window, and because she can see right into his apartment. So that's the something that she does. She spies on him once by mistake, two times completely not by mistake. And so the first time they actually have a conversation, the two of them, because they've met only a couple of times and they both think that they hate each other. Like, she thinks that he hates her because he always catches her in really bad situations where she's shouting at someone, and she thinks he hates him. No. And he thinks she hates him for some reason that he can't tell. But it's actually because she gets cute little electric shocks every time she touches him or every time she's near him. So she tries to back off super like cutely. So, and obviously that came off as hate because there's such a thin line between hate and love, and it's so funny in books when they try to do that kind of thing. So the first time that they actually have a proper conversation is because she up and decides that she wants to climb a tree and save a cat on the way back from her usual afternoon walk. And I don't know why it didn't occur to her that she might not be able to get down this tree. So she climbs the tree to save the cat, and of course her body's in pain, but she's doing it any which ways. And she gets the cat, and then she's talking to the cat, and he pops up out of nowhere, and he looks up and he's just like, so anyone need any help up in that tree? And she's just like, no, I don't need your help. She's all like snooty and sarcastic, and I love her character. And she's super direct. She's basically like 60-year-old grandma who is really, really direct in a 27-year-old's body, which is so fun to watch. And I'm pretty sure he has some kind of complex where he really, really enjoys taking care of people, like because he has this amazing relationship with his mother where, well, not amazing relationship with his mother. He has a relationship with his mother because he loves her very much and she always kind of needs him. And I kind of think that's why he got into this relationship, but also I truly believe that he loves her. Like, you can totally tell by the way his head is written. Those words make sense. Yeah. The way his head is written, the way his thoughts are, written. So he climbs up the tree to save her and the cat, and he completely believes the cat was a ridiculous excuse to climb up into a tree. And so he gets a little, like, slightly upset at her, like, this is completely not a good reason for you to climb into a tree. Like, horrible reasoning. Why would you do this? And she's just like, no, look at this cat. It's so cute. And so he helps her get down the tree like super slowly while they're having a conversation, and she makes some missteps and he gets mad at her and he calls her woman really in that guy tone, like when a guy is upset and he just screams woman in that tone. And it's honestly, it's adorable. Like, how could you not? And so he can see that she's in major pain, and of course she wants to be like sarcastic and snooty and all high up there, and I'm totally capable of doing this whole life thing without you thing. So she walks back home on her own, even though they live in the exact same place. And he goes to his house, and then like 5 minutes later he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go check on her, and if she's fine and she opens the door, I'll just leave. But if she doesn't, I'm gonna take my keys with me, because what if she fainted or she died or something happened? Because he doesn't know what's up with her. Like, he doesn't know about the chronic pain or the fibromyalgia or any of that stuff. So he goes and he knocks on her door, and she eventually opens the door, and she's just like, Redford, what are you doing here? And yeah, and it's so cute. And he's just like, oh, nothing, just checking. And she's like, oh, by the way, I meant to ask you, since you're an art person, I don't exactly remember how that came up, but since you're an art person and you probably need a website, I can do you a favor and we can make sort of a deal. I have this list that I want to accomplish. You have a motorbike that you have. So I really want to ride a motorbike. So will you ride a motorbike with me? And in exchange, I'll make you a website for your art thingy. And he literally has no clue, and he's indifferent to everything. So he's just like, yeah, okay, sure, why not? And then he has a dream about her, which is obviously bad timing, because as soon as he wakes up from this nap that he's in, someone knocks on the door, and guess who it is? So Chloe walks into his apartment for the consultation on the website, and of course they don't manage to actually talk about the website at all. They just end up chitty-chatting about random things, and then they somehow end up in bed together. They didn't do anything. She fell onto him. Both of them got extremely nervous about it. She got up, she left, and then she sent him an email stating that since both of us can't concentrate, I think it's best we do this over email correspondence. So they have an entire chapter of both of them emailing each other, and it starts with her calling him Mr. Morgan and ending with regards, like RDGS, regards, and like the abbreviation, and he responds with regards, the actual word, in caps, and then in brackets he writes, seriously, how hard is that to type? And so in her next email, so their correspondences keep going like this, and they start talking about their clothing choices and how much she likes his hair, and really weird conversation. And so at the end, and because all of her clothes tend to have very cute buttons on them, he decides that the nickname that he's gonna call her is Buttons, because that's just completely adorable. And yeah, and she finally starts calling him Red, which is very cute, and it goes from regards to yours truly, and that's so cute. And so all of this correspondence is before they've actually had any other interaction in real life. So they've gone on this motorcycle ride, and she absolutely loves it, and he feels like she wouldn't like it because his ex-girlfriend, who was also a little bit of the same status as her, didn't like it. Like, she completely hated so many things about him, and he was in a toxic relationship forever, so he doubts all of his relationships since then, and it's really horrible, honestly. And so he really thinks she wouldn't like it, but she gets off the bike and she looks at him and she just hugs him like so tight. She's like, oh my god, Brett, I completely love that. And yeah, isn't that cute? And then after they have all of these email correspondences, they finally meet in real life to talk about the email, to talk about what actually happened, and with the website and everything. And she's just like, listen, I have another proposition for you. And of course he's thinking the dirtiest things ever, which are obviously not gonna happen, but he really hopes they would happen. And yeah, so cute. Okay. And yeah, so she decides to tell him about a few parts of her list. So she tells him about the drunken night out, the motorcycle, and to go camping. And so since the motorcycle has been done, she checks it off, and then the next thing that he decides is they go on a night out. And at this point of time, they very much like each other. Like, he kissed her cheek, there was heavy breathing, they both know they like each other, nothing is happening with it. And then they go out on this drunken night out, and she has like 6 shots and she gets all tipsy, and she leans on him and he puts his hand around her, and they're just like comfortably doing things, like they're just enjoying. And she's like, listen, I don't like going to bars. Their original plan was to go bar hopping, but they went to the first bar and she was like, I don't want to go to bars, take me to your favorite place, like your happy place. And he's just like, are you serious, do you actually want to do that? And she's like, yeah, I want to see your happy place. So he takes her to an art gallery because that's where he used to know people and where he used to exhibit his art and stuff like that. And it's so cute. And after that, they're all like frisky and cute, and she's like tipsy and he's just having fun. And of course, he's very much into her and she's very much into him. And she's trying really hard to stay prim and proper. Like, she's the type of person who doesn't swear or doesn't like do anything wrong. She's very proper in public and all of these things. And so they're sitting on a stoop together, and she's leaning on him, and they just like start kind of going at it. They don't sleep with each other or like euphemism for, but they do stuff. And then they run into her aunt, and she calls him an absolute nobody. How could she do that? And he gets upset about it, as he should, because of course he should. And they don't talk for a whole 4 days. And then after 4 days, he goes and knocks on her door, and he's just like, listen, I need to be upset, and I need to be pissed, and I need to be angry, and you need to be okay with it. And she's like super exhausted and super tired because she's just like, the chronic pain is just going insane. And she's like, yes, I understand, you have to be angry. And then she like apologizes, I can't say words, apologizes profusely. And then she leans against the wall and she's like, listen, we can talk, but I just need to sit down. So she slides down the wall and she's about to sit on the ground, and he's just like, what do you think you're doing? And then he just picks her up, and she starts fidgeting, and she's like, would you stop moving around, woman? Let me just take you somewhere that you're comfortable. And so he puts her in the middle of her little like blanket hole on the couch. Very cute. And he's just like, are you okay? And like they're just like talking, and she apologizes and he forgives her, and it's so cute. And then he stands up and he's just like, what have you eaten all day? And she's like, oh, I haven't, I don't think I have. And as a person who does that very often, it is totally not her fault here. Like, come on. Okay, it's a little bit her fault. Okay, so he goes to the kitchen and he starts cooking for her, and she walks in and she looks at him. She's like, Red, you can't cook for me. And she's like, you like stir fry, right? He completely ignores what she's saying. And then so they have like this little tiff. They have this little tiff, and it's so cute. And she just sits there while he cooks, and it's so sweet. And he literally explains to her that this is how people are supposed to act when they're taking care of each other, which she's never had before in her life, because when this chronic pain and stuff happened, like her whole life, all of her friends and her fiance at the time, everybody left her, so she's not used to that kind of thing, which is super sad. But then he's just like, this is how people take care of each other, and you have to get used to that. And she's just like, okay. So he cooks for her, and it's really sweet. And then they kind of like, he makes a slight move towards wanting to start something, but she's like, listen, I really want you. She says that. She says, I really want you. And then, but I really have no energy to do anything. And he's just like, well, it's really nice to know that you want me. But no, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit with you and stay with you. And he's just like, and then he was just like, is that okay? She's like, yes, that's perfectly fine. And then they start watching a movie together, and she starts falling off to sleep. So he picks her up and he puts her on the bed, and she's literally like sound asleep. She's so peaceful. And he goes and lies down next to her, and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna think through my day and visualize and do like this whole gratitude thing and everything. And he falls off to sleep in literal minutes. And then he wakes up to her coming out of the shower in a towel, and she looks at him and she's like, oh, you're awake. Would you be a gentleman and close your eyes? And he's obviously, he says, no, I really don't want to do that. And she's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. And she goes back into the loo to change. And then she comes out, and he And then she looks at him and she's like, do you mind if I make you breakfast? And he's just like, you want to make me breakfast? Because he's so not used to people taking care of him. Like, he's so used to taking care of people. So she makes egg and toast for him, and they chitty chat a bit, and then they make out a bit, and it's very cute. And they decide that the next weekend they're gonna go camping, which is where everything goes down. I mean, not bad goes down, the good goes down before the third act breakup, because the third act breakup we're very not happy about. I mean, we're never happy about it. The only person who does no third act breakup that I've read so far is Stephanie Archer, and I've only read 2 of her books, and both of them didn't have a third act breakup, and I was very, very happy. I mean, they did, but they were external forces. They were not internal, so that was nice, you know? So they decide to go camping, and he does this whole thing for her where he gets like this little bonfire in a can thing, and he gets like an air mattress and a giant tent, and he puts twinkle lights inside the tent so that when they like do it for the first time, it'll be like all cute and shiny and sparkly. And of course it's all cute and shiny and sparkly, and it's just perfect. And of course he's having this whole fit this entire time that he's in the wrong because he's not supposed to be sleeping with his tenants. But you know, does that really matter all that much? Anyways. Yeah, so they go camping and they have this whole thing and they make s'mores, and he tells her about his past and she gets super pissed at it and she actually swears, and he looks at her like in shock, like, you actually swore? And she gets super pissed at his like ex-girlfriend and all the people from his life, from his past life, and she's so supportive and their relationship is so cute and they love each other so much. And it was in that moment that they both realized that they were completely in love with each other. But obviously they didn't tell each other because they never do. Because a tiny bit of miscommunication is so important in romance novels. It's the only thing I dislike, truly. And so they go on this camping trip, and then they're together like for a while. And then, of course, the third act breakup has to happen. Anyway, so he overhears a conversation that she knows he's overhearing it. He's in the bedroom and she's trying to hide him from her sisters who have barged into the apartment because she forgot to text them about the camping trip. And she's trying to hide him even though his crap is all over her apartment. So what is the actual point? Nobody knows. And so she's trying to hide him, and it's very cute. Sorry, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so she tries to hide him. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I just finished the book, which is the purpose of the video making at this insane hour. You can see it's clearly super dark outside. Where was I? Yeah, she's trying to hide him from her sisters, and so cute. And so she doesn't manage very well because of course his boots are at the door, his bag is in the kitchen, and like his stuff is everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. But he overhears her saying something on the lines of, I've removed, like in the beginning it was the meaningless sex thing, and she was just like, no, this was not meaningless. And then immediately she clarifies with her sister and she's like, no, I removed that from the list. And then she was like, oh, and then replaced it with, and she's like, oh, I replaced it with red. So in that moment he's thinking, oh my god, I was just a person on her list, because that's insane. Clarify, you people. Miscommunication, so bloody dumb. Anyways, and he gets mad at her. She doesn't know why he's mad. He doesn't exactly get, she doesn't understand what about the fact that he's on the list makes him mad. She doesn't understand that, and he doesn't like being on a list. And then after he leaves, which she tells him, if it's this easy for you to leave, then then don't expect to come back. Like, it shouldn't be this easy for you to leave. And yeah, and then he leaves and he stands outside her door and he thinks about this, and within 5 minutes he realizes that he's wrong, right? So he knocks on the door and she doesn't open it, and he says, Chloe, and they have like a little conversation through the door where they literally like make the breakup a little more permanent. And so after that, and he's so sweet about it, actually. He's a complete doll like the entire time. Like, such a lovable human being. Except for the fact that he has mom tattooed on his knuckles, which apparently was a teenage mistake, which is both no, questionable. It's questionable. It's just, no, you shouldn't. I mean, I anyways don't, I mean, not that I don't understand. I see why people do the whole heart with the mom in the middle of it thing, but just, why? So he never lets her feel like it's a complete breakup. He never lets her go through the motions of all that pain. Every day he leaves a little box with a gift outside of her apartment, and it's so cute. So on the first day, it's a book with a letter that he's writing to her about how much he loves her, but she doesn't open that letter until like a week later. And so the next gift was a little jar which has scrunchies because she always loses her scrunchies. And of course she can't open a jar because her dexterity shit. So she looks at the jar and she's like, oh, this was a really bad gift, until she realizes the jar is like, it's like a self-opening kind of thing. It doesn't require for her to actually do anything. She just has to put her hand through and it'll open. She removes her hand and it closes. And she's just like, oh my god, this is so sweet. And he keeps sending her gifts. Like he sends her a stuffed toy of the cat that she lost. Well, she didn't lose the cat. She had to give the cat back to the rightful owner. You remember the cat from the tree? So she had to give the cat back, and she was very sad about that. And all of these things. And then eventually she's just like, okay, I should just read the letter. And she reads the letter, and he made his own little list. So cute, with a letter about how much he loves her. And it's just perfect. Where is that bloody letter? And honestly, I think it could have done without the last chapter. But look at the letter. It's okay, you can't see anything. But he has a list. He has a little list of all the things. And he has like a tick mark next to one of them. And he literally mentions that he's completely and totally in love with her. And he understands how he made a mistake. But he never wants for her to leave him again. And her list is literally how to get Chloe back list. So cute. First one, lure her with food and presents, which he did successfully. Wait outside Annie's house and take Smudge. Smudge is the name of her cat, by the way. That was a really good plan. And honestly, in the end, they do end up getting Smudge back. Like, Annie gifts Smudge to them when they officially get together or get married or something. At some event, she gets the cat back. And she has the cat, and that's just really cute. Learn how to use a PlayStation because Chloe loves the PlayStation. Paint in front of the window shirtless because maybe she'd see him through the window, which is what she does. She reads the letter, she goes to the window, she opens the window, and he's right there. And he's shirtless and he's painting. And immediately, I don't even know how, but immediately he turns around and he sees her and he puts his hand onto the glass. And she just looks at him, and like they have like this little moment where they're just looking at each other, and it's so precious. And then she turns from the window and she just walks away, and he's so confused until he hears knocking on his door, and guess who it is? It's Chloe! Of course it's Chloe. Who else would it be? Okay, the next one. Take charge of all the buttons so that she can wear real cardigans, because all of her cardigans have fake buttons on them. And she really likes buttons. So cute. Continue therapy because he becomes a better person, and love her always, no matter what. This is adorable. Like, I'm just weirdly in love with love. Yeah. So, and one of my favorite lines from the book, it has to be my favorite line, was when he wakes up in the morning and he realizes, I'm looking for the exact line, but he realizes that looking at Chloe in the morning is equivalent to looking at a canvas for him, which is just, it's so peaceful and beautiful and calming. It's like a burst of creativity or love or something, and it's so beautiful. And then they finally do her last thing together, and he has a thing on his list, like his forever list, where he wants to go to the Modern Museum MoMA in New York. And they do that together. That's the epilogue, where they go to New York together with only hand luggage. And he finally gets to see his museum. And it's so sweet. And she's frozen. And of course, she's wearing like 26 layers because that's so on par with her character. And yeah, it's just adorable. And I'm so excited to read the next book. And possibly make another one of these weird dramatic book review thingies. I have no idea what I'm going to call it yet, but probably dramatic book review thingy.